Hey guys, welcome back to Joe's House Hacks and Home Maintenance and Renovation Tips. So today we're going to talk to you guys about removing this wall. So there's a few things that you need to take into consideration if you're going to remove a wall. First of all, you need to know, is it a load-bearing wall? If it is, then you probably should get a professional in, and you probably should either get engineer's drawings or a designer to actually design a beam to go up. Because if you just look up here, up there, you'll see that there is a beam up there, but it is actually a fake beam. So that beam that's up there, all it does, it's not a beam, it's a chase for, there's plumbing, there's one plumbing drain, an 1.5 inch drain, and there's a couple of wires, and there's 2 water pipes. That's it. So there's no structure to it at all. All it is to hold a bit of drywall and to hide some piping. And so as far as structure goes, there's really nothing to worry about in weight for that. However, what I'm going to do just for looks is we're going to actually put a wood beam across there. So just above this TV here, just below that there fake beam, we're actually going to run a beam from all the way over here. So this door post right here, this door here, this is all going to come out. So this trim will come off, and we're going to put a post here, and then we're going to run a beam across here over to this side over here, and we're going to put another post there. So that'll open that right up. So that'll make this room feel that much bigger. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put a closet on this wall here, because this house is 140 years old and it doesn't really have any closets at all. So we are going to put a bit of a closet there. So some of the other things you need to think about. So first of all, you determine whether that is a load-bearing wall. If you don't know, do not remove it. So get somebody who knows what they're doing, whether it's a contractor, an engineer, a designer, somebody. So once you've determined that, then you got to determine whether or not what is that wall sitting on. So the other thing you really would be good to know is which way do the floor joists run that this wall sits on. So if they're running this way, so this wall actually I've already gone into, it's kind of an old dingy basement in this house. So the floor joists run this way. They're actually beams, so they're old logs like this. That's all they are. This wall runs in between two, and they're about 2 feet apart. So this wall here carries absolutely no weight. The other thing to think about is if you go back up here and look, so on the ceiling, you want to know which way these floor joists are running. So are they going this way or are they going the other way? So in this case, the floor joists above are running the exact same way as this wall here. So again, another good indication that you don't have to worry about this being a load-bearing wall. So some of the other things that we got to look at is we have 2 outlets. So we have one on this side of the wall and we have one on the other side of the wall. So this outlet and that outlet, I'm pretty sure that they're connected. Now I'll find out once I get this wall all apart, and then I'll know whether these 2 are connected. The other thing is on the back side of this wall, there's a light switch for one light in the other room. Now that will likely, in all likelihood, run up this wall and into the ceiling and pick up that light, because the light switch is just on this other side of this wall and the light's in the center of the room. So pretty sure that's where that will go. So, but it's good to think about these things before you start ripping and tearing, because you don't want to get into some problems and then go, oh wait a minute, this is going to cost way more than I thought. So anyways, yeah, you should always though add more to your budget. So if you think it's going to cost you $2,000 or $3,000 to do something, add at least another 10 or 15% minimum. That way you got a buffer just in case. So the other thing that you really need to think about is, what is the wall made out of? So if you're not sure, a good idea is to pull a bit of baseboard off at the bottom here. So this is your baseboard here. So you can pull a bit of that off there, and you might be able to see the bottom of the wall finish. If you can't, what you do is pull that baseboard off and just cut a little wee hole. Just use a utility knife to cut through, because this wall here, this wall is by all likelihood lath and plaster. And the thing with lath and plaster, some lath and plaster has asbestos in it. So you want to be careful of that. The other thing is too, back in the old days, they used to use lead paint. That's another thing that you got to take into consideration. Now this wall is very small. This here is only about 5.5 feet, so it's not a huge deal. But whatever you do, if you're not going to have it tested, you could have this tested, send it out to a lab and have it tested for asbestos. But if you're not, the absolute least that you should do is wear a respirator like a full charcoal filtered respirator with pre-filters, everything on it. And then the other thing you should do is make sure you plastic off the entire area and then tape it. Tape it to the ceiling, tape it to the floor, regardless of whether or not this is asbestos lath plaster or not. You should still do that because drywall dust still kicks up a lot of dust. So you want to make sure it's all taped to the floor, tape it to the ceiling, and even then you're still going to get a little bit of dust. So make sure that that is done. So that's pretty much what we've determined to get started on this wall. So some of the tools you're probably going to need, you'll need like a little flat bar, like a little wrecking bar like that. I will get into bigger wrecking bars because there are real 2x4 studs in there, old studs, and the reason why I know is because everywhere else in the house, that's what there is. So another really handy tool is a cat's claw. That's really good for pulling nails out. This is a little baseboard flat bar, so this is really good for getting in between the wall and the baseboard, for popping baseboards over or off. And you absolutely need a hammer and you need drills. I like Milwaukee, but there's many different kinds of brands, but you'll need that for, like, I have to take this TV off the wall, I've got to take this board, you know, and screwdrivers. You need flathead screwdrivers for taking that off, and then you need a number 6 screwdriver, number 8 screwdriver for taking off the outlets. And if you're not comfortable with electrical, please hire yourself an electrician. Money well spent. The rates are, varies depending on where you live, but make sure you hire an electrician who knows what they're doing. Because really all it is moving 2 outlets and moving 1 light switch, which that light switch is actually just going to go over to the other wall. So it's not a big deal and it's not very far. So, but if you're not confident and know exactly what you're doing, please don't do it. Hire yourself an electrician. The other thing to take into consideration, maybe, make sure there's no plumbing or anything in the wall. Make sure there's no bathrooms above you or bathrooms below you before you start ripping and tearing. So most houses that I'm talking about that you guys are going to be involved in likely aren't this complicated because they're probably going to be a lot newer. This house is 140 years old, but there's always a way to get around things. So if there's any indication that this is a supporting wall, then make sure you hire the right people. Because some of the indications, again, I'm going to reconfirm this or reiterate it for you, is if the floor joists run this way, it's probably a supporting wall. If the floor joists run this way, there's an indication it may very well be a supporting wall. So, and if that beam up there, that bulkhead that's up there, really is what it is, it's just a fake bulkhead, fake beam. If it's not, then this could also indicate that this is a load-bearing wall. So those are some of the things to take into consideration. So anyways, that's just a few things to look at whenever you're going to go and start ripping walls in your house. But by all means, make sure, and if you think you might need a building permit, then you should get one. That way you're covered. For the few bucks it's worth it, and really it's not a big project, but that's your call. So anyways, until next time, all the best in all your renovations and maintenance, and by all means make sure you subscribe and share this video. Thanks again. Have a great day.